This Highland Park listing looks like a detached home, so we collected the records, map context, cost context, permits, hazards, schools, incident data, comps, and open questions behind it. The appeal is easy to understand. The listing is priced at $199,000. It shows 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 1,754 square feet, built in 2013. It has an attached 2-car garage, a fenced private patio, a security gate, central air, seller-owned solar, and the phrase that gets attention, no shared walls. The listing also says it is classified as a condo, but functions like a single-family home. That is the core buyer hook. It feels like a house, but the ownership structure is not just a throwaway detail. So instead of giving this a hard verdict, we pulled the public record context around the listing. Zillow calls this a condominium. Zemas, the City of Los Angeles property system, also points in that direction. The use code says residential, single-family residence, detached, condominium. Labs makes that even clearer. The new building permit describes a proposed 2-story detached condominium, 1 of 6 units, and certificate of occupancy was issued in 2014. That does not make it good or bad. It tells us what the buyer intelligence file needs to focus on. Condo plan, CC&Rs, HOA budget, reserves, maintenance responsibility, master insurance, rental rules, pet rules, special assessments, and project warrantability. The listing shows a $230 monthly HOA called 61/4 HOA, and the visible listing inclusion is maintenance grounds. The open question is whether that HOA also touches roof, exterior, driveway, gate, retaining walls, drainage, patio fencing, landscaping, and insurance. The permit story is useful. Lab shows a 2006 demolition permit for an older 1,200 square foot single-family dwelling. Then it shows the new detached condo building permit, the 2014 certificate of occupancy, electrical permits, and later address change electrical work. There is also retaining wall and grading history, retaining wall foundation revisions, change to shotcrete, a wall height decrease to 5 feet 6 inches, and 1 older grading application shown as pending JOS GPI only. That does not mean there is a defect. It means the document list matters. Approved plans, final inspection cards, base permits, geotechnical or engineering details, drainage documents, and the HOA maintenance matrix. There is also a records mismatch. The listing says 4 bedrooms. Zemas assessor data shows 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and 1,754 square feet. That may be explainable, but it is part of the buyer file because bedroom count can affect appraisal, resale, and comp selection. The map explains why buyers may like this listing. The property is near York Boulevard and North Figueroa Street. Highland Park Metro. A line station is roughly 0.45 mile away. York and Figueroa put restaurants, coffee, bars, groceries, and retail close by. The practical buyer context is that walkability and corridor access come with trade-offs: traffic, parking pressure, evening activity, and noise patterns. The listing's attached 2-car garage matters here, but garage usability, guest parking, patio privacy, and time of day feel are still part of the full picture. Zemas flags the property as hillside area. Yes. Special grading area. Yes. Very high fire hazard severity zone. Yes. Alquist Priolo, fault zone. Yes. It also identifies the nearest fault as the Raymond Fault, about 0.205 kilometers away. Zemas shows flood as outside flood zone, landslide as no, and liquefaction as no. A FEMA NFHL point query came back as Zone X, area of minimal flood hazard, not a special flood hazard area. The practical buyer context is insurance, lender review, hazard disclosures, and maintenance responsibility. For a condo, the master policy and the buyer's separate coverage need to fit together. School context is in the file as well. La Hub boundary layers returned. Garvanza, Yorkdale Elementary boundary context. Burbank Middle and Franklin High. Final assignment remains a district confirmation item. Official reported incident data for an approximate 0.5 mile area around the property in 2024 returned 400 reported incidents. The leading categories were shoplifting, petty theft, vehicle stolen, theft from motor vehicle, vandalism, theft plane, trespassing, burglary from vehicle and simple battery. This is not a label on the property or the neighborhood. The practical buyer context is vehicle parking awareness, garage use, corridor activity, and how the nearby commercial streets function at different times. The list price is $199 million. Zillow's public tax history shows 2025 property taxes around $8,154 on an assessed value, around $654,998. A simple California estimate at 1.25% of the list price is about $13,738 per year, or roughly $1,145 per month. That is before HOA, insurance, utilities, and maintenance reserves. Using a sample 6.75% 30-year fixed rate only for illustration, 20% down is roughly $5,700 a month for principal and interest before taxes, HOA, insurance, utilities, and maintenance. At 10% down, it is roughly $6,400 before those items and before any mortgage insurance. These are not quotes. They are context for how the listing price turns into monthly ownership cost. The public comp picture is still an open question. Zillow's automated value is near the asking price, but automated estimates and active listings are not sold comps. The useful MLS comp set focuses on detached condos, small lot alternatives, and townhouse-style properties nearby, with similar square footage, parking, age, condition, no shared walls appeal, HOA profile, and sale timing. No hard verdict here. This is the buyer intelligence file behind the listing. Ownership structure, HOA questions, permits, retaining walls, hazards, flood context, incident data, tax reset, and comp questions. Found a listing you like? Send it to us before you tour. We'll collect the public records, map context, cost context, permits, hazards, schools, incident data, comps, and open questions so you can decide with a full picture.